Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and hopefully I sound a lot better this time. I think I'm finally over my flu, so I feel much better. I still got a little bit of a cough, a little bit of tickle in my chest, but for the most part it's gone, so hopefully I'm not coughing in the microphone at all during this. But anyways, while I was sick, I found myself getting rather addicted to Twitter, and I'm kind of a boomer and a late adopter of Twitter, but as somebody like Tim Pool says, is like that's where the culture battle is going right now. That's where a lot of the conversation about our culture is taking place on Twitter. So I've made it a point to really get involved with Twitter, and I have to admit I'm a little addicted. But I wanted to create a new series of videos just because of the insanity I see on Twitter. And I'm going to call it Twitter Insanity right now. I don't know. I might change the name later. But anyways, this is going to be a series of just kind of the crazy things I run into. And one of the things what actually inspired this was a tweet I saw from yesterday. So we have Julia Galef. I'm sorry, Julia, if I completely screwed that up. She had a tweet here saying, study I would run if I had time. 1, recruit 10,000 people unsure if they want kids. 2, ask them questions. Do you enjoy kids? Do you enjoy your life? Main pros and cons. Follow up 20 years later and ask, did you have kids or not? And are you glad? Look for predictors of satisfaction with each choice. And she has other details here, but someone replied, and the ratio was insane. So this tweet has been yeeted since then. It's gone. And the last time I saw it, you look at the ratio there is just absolutely terrible. It's 3.3 thousand, replies and only 342 likes. Last time I saw it early this morning, it was at 500, I think, likes and like 5,000 comments. So it was like a 10-to-1 ratio. So actually, no, that'd be like 10-to-1 ratio. So it was heavily ratioed. And this is what the guy says, Sam McRoberts, which I don't really know who this guy is. This is the first I've heard of him, but he has a verified checkmark, which, as we know, that doesn't really mean anything. So he says here, and this is from a Sarah McCord at, I don't know, Giacutenomeg or whatever. He had a screenshot here, or she had a screenshot, and it's a she. Had a screenshot and tweeted it out, and I retweeted it for posterity's sake. So it says, my wife and I originally wanted 3 kids, had one, decided after a few years that one was plenty. Perfectly fine so far. Though I love my son, I now, and this is kind of like where everything before but doesn't mean anything. A, know myself well enough, and B, know the challenges of parenting well enough to say that having a kid is probably my biggest life regret. Wife concurs. So this triggered a lot of people. And there's some people who are like, you know what, at least he's being honest, and that's, a positive thing. And, I can get on board with that. The other thing is, I could kind of sympathize that you don't know what it's like to have a child until you have a child. My wife and I have tried to have children, and we're unable to have children. So we've talked about adoption, but that's beside the point. We don't know what it's going to be like once we have a child, and that's a conversation me and my wife's had many times. Over the last 3 years, we've had these conversations about this. So it's been a very important conversation that we've had. So whether they had this conversation or not, I don't know. But the problem is that he's saying that having a kid is his biggest life regret, which is it's an unfortunate statement. And he says he loves his son, but his child is going to know this. And I don't know. He says his wife concurs. The child will know this. And I'll give you an example. And this may be a poor example, but it's the best one I've got, at least. We have dogs. And I'm not a huge pet person. Now, don't get me wrong. I love dogs. I think cats are of the devil and are a scourge on the planet. But, so I much prefer dogs. And we have 2 dogs. And they are excellent dogs. Super nice, super cuddly. And, I'm just not a huge pet person. My wife is. And the dogs know who prefers them. Now, I don't mistreat the dogs. I play with them, I pet them, I give them treats, I feed them, I take them out, I take them to the vet, we go for walks. I will play with them and, cuddle with them and all that stuff. And the dogs they're happy when I come home. The dogs generally have a positive attitude towards me. My wife, on the other hand, spoils them. And it's very obvious that the dogs prefer her over me. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just obvious that dogs have the intuition to realize this person is, person A is great, person B is even better. So, and I'm going to assume a child is going to have better intuition than dogs will. Children will recognize this. And I think overall, culturally, we're seeing something like this. You see, in almost every category, from education to health to physical and mental health, finances, you name it, young men today are in a crisis. They're failing at every statistic. Women are doing much better than men overall. Women are going to better schools. They have better mental health. They are more engaged in their jobs, and we're starting to learn that young women, are being paid more than men are. Whereas they're less likely to drink, less likely to smoke, less likely to commit suicide, much less likely to have depression and other mental health issues. Whereas men are just absolutely failing. Men are becoming very apathetic, and it's because society as a whole has been telling men that you're toxic, telling men that they are the problem with society. So, I mean, it's like that Gillette commercial, what was that, like a month or so ago? Men are starting to feel that culture is talking down to them, that culture hates them. And men are realizing this, and we're seeing it in all the statistics. We're seeing it manifesting itself, where men are failing because our culture is telling them that they're all horrible. And a child's going to know when a parent regrets having the child. And it's just like my dogs, as much as I love them, and I do love them, I don't regret having them. I'm just not a huge dog person, or just a pet person in general. So, and the dogs know this. And it's always been like that. Even when I was a kid, my parents got me a dog for maybe my 10th birthday. And I love that dog. I cried when that dog died of cancer for like a full day. I was just heartbroken. I loved that dog. And I would, play with the dog. The dog would sleep with me. But my dad, who is a huge dog person, my dad is like a dog whisperer. The dog knew that my dad was just someone who liked the dog more. And despite how much love I had for that dog, my dad had even more love. So, it's been, if dogs can realize this, children will realize this. And unfortunately for Sam McRoberts, you don't know until you actually have children, and he's being truthful about it. But the problem is that he's putting this in a public space. I mean, this is now going to exist forever. And some kid's probably going to, his kid, if he's old enough, could go back and probably look at and see this. What is it going to make that kid feel? Imagine, Sam, if you were married and you were out having a drink with a bud one day and you tell him, you know what, I love my wife, but I regret getting married. How would that make your wife feel? Right? I mean, that would be a terrible thing. And it's almost selfish. I mean, that's the whole point of being married and having children, is that it's not just your life anymore. It's somebody else's life. Your life now includes more people. And that's the kind of the social contract or the cultural contract you take from getting married or having children. So imagine instead of your wife or instead of your child, you're looking at this as your wife. How would your wife feel about that if she saw this tweet? Probably absolutely devastated. I know my wife would be absolutely devastated if I said that, and I'd be devastated if my wife said that. So, if anything, he has his opinion. He's I guess you could say he quote unquote learned a lesson not to have another child, which that's a good thing. Is that if he's had one kid and he's not happy, thank God he's not having a second kid or a third kid as they originally wanted. But that's probably something you should probably keep to yourself or to your therapist or something. I don't even know if you would want to talk to that kind of thing about your wife, because you could possibly turn your wife against your kid, subconsciously. So it's a complex thing, but honestly, he has his opinion. That obviously the children were not right for his life, and that's something he's got to live with. But going out of public space and saying that, where someday his kid could see that, that's just not the healthy thing to do. So, anyways, I just thought this was a crazy tweet, and kind of the Twitter Insanity series. Hopefully it's a good kickoff for it. So I'll probably have more videos of this, and maybe they'll change the name. But if you like this content, though, and you think Twitter Insanity is something you enjoy, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Cultural Alan, and I'll see you guys the next time.